Good afternoon, my name's Justin. Welcome to my channel. I play guitar on songs in Nashville. Today I want to talk about 5 things that you're doing wrong with a slide. I think a lot of beginning slide players get discouraged because there are a few tips that you need to be aware of that if you're not aware of them, they can hold you back and make you lose interest and make you think, oh, I'm just terrible at slide. When in reality, if you knew these handful of things, it would really set you on the path to making slide playing a part of your tool bag, you know? The whole point of this channel is to help guitar players be the kinds of musicians that other musicians want to hire, that they want to be in a band with, that they want to take on tour, that they want to play on their record potentially, you know? So that's the whole point of the channel. If you're new here, thanks for watching. I think you should subscribe. I would appreciate it if you did. I offer lots of tips and things that I've learned along the way. I've made a career out of playing guitar in Nashville and being the kind of player that serves the song and listens to everybody else in the band. And that's hard to do for a lot of people who are just sort of plunking in their bedroom by themselves. You're used to just being active the entire time. And you're either playing with a backing track where everything defers to you. By definition, it's just a backing track. You can learn how to work out your own ideas for solos and creative parts and stuff like that, but it kind of doesn't really teach you how to comp or how to listen to everybody else and play off of the melodic information that they're giving you. It doesn't teach you how to take a back seat and to support and showcase others as well. So I think it's easy to fall into that kind of playing where you're just sort of doing it for yourself and you're active the whole time. If you're not active, you're just playing bar chords and then you're waiting to solo. There's a lot more to being the kind of musician on guitar who is a team player in a band context. And that's the whole point of this channel. Let's get into the 5 things that you're doing wrong with a slide. I'm playing my Jazzmaster, my Danocaster Jazzmaster neck pickup straight into the Analog Outfitters Sarge into a Morgan 112 cabinet with an ET65. It's mic'd up with a Heil PR30 going through my Chandler TG2 straight into my Apollo Twin into Pro Tools. And I'm going to use my little old vintage Coricidin bottle. If you saw my last slide video, things that you need to decide before you even touch a slide, I wasn't saying that you need to decide those things and then stay there forever. I thought that was obvious. But I was saying you need to decide what to try before you start trying. And I had an argument that I think, you know, makes a lot of sense if you want to play slide with a lot of control, and that is using your ring finger. Watch that video if you haven't. So at this point, I'm hoping that you've decided a finger to try. You've decided on a slide and you're ready. So here are the 5 things. Number 1 thing you're doing wrong with a slide. You're not in tune. Playing slide is really hard because you are on this completely frictionless surface above the fretboard. You don't have these little markers that are going to put you in tune if you just land somewhere in between them, the frets, right? You're existing above them, and you can sail right past the note. You can not quite get there. If you're playing multiple strings together, if your guitar's out of tune, you're not going to hear the intervals properly. Slide playing is almost as much about your ear as it is about your hands. I mean, you really have to use your ear and micro adjust on the fly where you are on the fretboard. And to do that and to hear things properly, you got to be in tune. So make sure you are in tune. Number 2, this goes back to the other video. You're not playing a slide that fits you well. It's either too big or it falls all the way down to the base of your finger, and then your hand has to have this unnatural angle for you to be able to play it. You should be able to bend the first knuckle of your finger while you're playing slide. That will give your left hand a more comfortable position on the neck. So something that fits well, you know, I've got 20 slides. I've tried a lot of things, and I've settled on larger diameter glass on my ring finger. That's just what I like. Like I said, if it's too big, it's going to fall all the way down to the base of your finger. You'll have a weird hand position. If it's too small, it's going to be hanging way out on your finger and get in the way if you're trying to do other things while you're playing slide. There's sort of a happy medium, and you need to find that. So that's number 1 and number 2. Number 3. What you're doing wrong with a slide, you're not keeping a straight bar, okay? And what I mean by that is that when you go up for like a chord with your slide, your bar is not parallel to the frets. That's a little sour, right? You can hear it. Whereas this is much better, right? I'm parallel to the fret. You can hear it get really bad as I turn the slide. So that's a really big deal, right? And your slide's got to be perpendicular to the neck, parallel to the frets. You kind of want to hold like this, right? Well, that lends to not having a straight bar. So that's just something you got to be aware of. You're going to be looking and adjusting based on what you see and on what you hear, right? Slide is learning the feel and learning how to enunciate notes. It's also using your eyes and it's using your ears. And this leads me to number 4. Thing you're doing wrong with a slide. You're staring at your left hand. Well, I just told you you need to use your eyes. So what's the problem with staring at your left hand? Well, everybody watches while they play slide. They're watching the fretboard, but they're looking ahead to where they're going. If I'm going to slide up from the B note on the G string up to the E note, I'm not going to stare at my finger or my hand or my slide while I do it. I'm going to look ahead. Looking ahead helps you play faster and helps you have a better intonation. So again, it's the feel, it's your ear helping you make micro adjustments on the fly, and it's looking ahead so you get to where you need to be and can land on the note. If you're a beginner, that might seem like it's out of reach, like you're never going to be able to be the kind of slide player who actually slides into a note and it's intonated well and it's clear and it's singing. But if you have all of these 5 things in your head and you're aware of them, I'm telling you, you'll get better faster. Because what you're doing is programming your nervous system to be able to do this. That's with any coordinated task, right? Music, athletics, whatever. You do things in repetition to program your brain. And if you're doing those things correctly, it helps, right? If you're doing bad habits, you will program bad habits into your nervous system. That's not good. So with these 5 things, I'm hoping that we program good habits and then you can accelerate. Not having any awareness of these 5 things, I think, holds you back. So with that, 5th thing that you're doing wrong with a slide, you're not muting other strings, okay? Muting happens in both hands when you're playing a slide. On your left hand, you're typically muting the strings behind the slide. And you can hear it if I just slide up. That's muted, unmuted. In the room, I can hear what's behind this portion of the string behind the slide is ringing as well, right? The surface that you're playing on is above the fretboard. So you are playing slide and getting a note, and you're really getting it on both sides if you're not muting. I don't mute behind the slide every time. Sometimes with like a fuzz pedal and a big rock sound, like it's cool to have extra harmonic information going on, but your default needs to be muting behind the slide. That's only half the story though. The other half of the story is that you're muting with this hand as well. And so take, for example, an A chord. I'm just going to play a 2-note A chord. I'm going to play an E and an A. It's like playing the 2 higher strings of this power chord. If I wasn't muting, there's just a bunch of other notes going on there, right? You can hear the B on the low E string. If you start applying vibrato with a slide and you've got some wound strings happening, they're going to sound out if you're not muting them with this hand. So when I'm playing that 2-note chord, I'm muting the 2 strings around it. And I've really got I'm muting all the strings but those 2. And now, you know, like on a rock song or something, or a bluesy song, and I want to have that rattle going on, it's the notes that I want, you know? Then I can go to D. Again, I'm muting all the strings around the 2 that I'm playing together. E, That's B and E, an inverted E chord, right? I'm playing an E major, 9th fret, B, E, G sharp. It's the same shape as like an A major, but I'm up here. Well, when I'm playing that, the slide is also catching the 9th fret on the A string, but because I'm in standard tuning, that note's not in the chord, so I want to make sure I'm muting that string as well. So here, I'm just it's sort of second nature now. I'm using my thumb in between the E and A strings. The back side of my thumb is muting the E string. The fleshy part of my thumb is muting the A string. And then I'm catching the high E as well. So I'm just getting those 3 strings. And up here, I'm playing a C sharp minor, or E6 if you want. And I'm muting the wound strings behind it because they're not part of the chord. So those 5 things: tuning, slide fit, straight bar, how you look at your hand, looking ahead, and muting. If you get those 5 things down, your slide playing is going to get better a lot faster. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and please subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you later.